Picture this. You're walking across the living room floor when suddenly your knee buckles beneath you. The sharp sting of pain shoots through your leg, and in an instant you're on the ground. For many seniors, a fall like this is the beginning of a devastating cycle: broken bones, weakened muscles, and months of recovery. But here's the shocking truth: the culprit may not be your age alone. It could be something sitting quietly on your dinner plate, a vegetable you've always believed to be healthy. As a geriatric doctor, I've seen too many cases where patients thought they were nourishing their bodies only to learn that a seemingly innocent vegetable was silently sabotaging their muscle growth. It doesn't clog arteries like fried food, and it isn't sugary like dessert. No, it's far sneakier. Its anti-nutrients interfere with the very proteins your muscles depend on to stay strong after 60. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. And if you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Today I'm going to walk you through the hidden dangers of this vegetable and the 9 ways it quietly chips away at your strength. And trust me, if this first example shocks you, the next one will leave you speechless. After age 60, the body undergoes a profound shift in how it manages muscle tissue. Scientists call it sarcopenia, the natural and progressive loss of muscle mass that accelerates with age. Research shows that older adults can lose up to 3 to 8% of their muscle mass per decade after turning 60. That doesn't just mean a weaker grip or a slower walk. It translates into instability, higher risk of falls, slower wound healing, and less independence in daily life. Simply put, when muscles shrink, your quality of life shrinks with them. But here's where things get even more troubling. While sarcopenia is already a concern, certain foods can speed up this decline by interfering with your body's ability to repair and rebuild muscle fibers. Among them lies a surprising vegetable that most seniors assume is safe. On the surface, it looks vibrant, fresh, and nutritious, perhaps something you've been told to eat often. Yet inside it hides compounds that can act like microscopic thieves, robbing your body of the very building blocks it needs to preserve muscle. The problem comes down to anti-nutrients, naturally occurring chemicals in plants that protect the plant but can work against human physiology. Some vegetables, especially leafy greens and legumes, contain substances such as oxalates and lectins. While harmless to many in small amounts, these compounds bind to minerals like calcium, magnesium, and even amino acids from protein. Imagine spending effort to eat protein-rich foods, eggs, fish, or lean chicken, only for the nutrients to be locked away, inaccessible to your muscles. Your body tries to repair aging fibers, but without the raw materials, it's like trying to build a house without bricks. I'll never forget one of my patients, Mr. Jonathan, 64, a retired engineer. He came to me frustrated that despite eating carefully and even exercising lightly, his legs felt weaker every month. He prided himself on making large vegetable salads for dinner, especially one with generous helpings of raw spinach, beans, and tomatoes. He thought he was fueling his body with health, but when we examined his diet, it became clear those vegetables were delivering oxalates and lectins in doses that interfered with his nutrient absorption. His blood tests revealed lower calcium retention and signs of protein malabsorption. In plain terms, his body was fighting a battle with one hand tied behind its back. "Doctor," he asked me, "are you saying the vegetables I thought were saving me are actually making me weaker?" It was a difficult moment. He looked stunned, almost betrayed by the food he had trusted for decades. But after gradually adjusting his diet, cooking certain vegetables instead of eating them raw, pairing them with protein and healthy fats, and replacing others with safer options, he began to feel stronger. Within 3 months, his walking endurance improved and his leg cramps decreased dramatically. His case became a clear example of how the right knowledge can reverse what feels like inevitable decline. This brings us to the crucial point. Not all vegetables are equally friendly to aging muscles. Some provide antioxidants and fiber without harm, while others secretly block absorption and accelerate weakness. The danger is not in eating vegetables altogether, it's in choosing the wrong ones in the wrong form and in the wrong amounts. Seniors who don't know this are often left wondering why their exercise isn't working or why their protein shakes aren't helping. They blame age alone, when in reality, part of the problem lies hidden in their own kitchen. And here's where it gets even more concerning. The vegetable I'm about to reveal next doesn't just interfere with protein. It also disrupts calcium balance, leading to cramps, bone fragility, and even heart strain. For seniors already battling muscle loss, this combination can be disastrous. So if you thought oxalates were bad news, Wait until you learn about how this common vegetable can twist your calcium metabolism and why so many seniors are unknowingly paying the price. One of the least discussed enemies of muscle health after 60 is a category of compounds called anti-nutrients. These aren't toxins in the traditional sense. They won't poison you in a single meal. Instead, they slowly interfere with your body's ability to use the nutrients you consume. And when your body can't access protein, calcium, or iron, your muscles pay the price. The vegetable at the center of today's warning contains oxalates, crystalline compounds found in varying degrees in spinach, beets, Swiss chard, and certain beans. Oxalates bind tightly to minerals in your food, creating insoluble complexes that your digestive system simply can't absorb. For example, when oxalates latch onto calcium, instead of that calcium strengthening your bones and aiding in muscle contraction, it passes out of your body unused. Worse still, chronic exposure leads to a double blow: nutrient deficiency and the buildup of oxalate crystals in tissues, which can irritate muscles and joints. Mainstream medicine already acknowledges that seniors have declining digestive efficiency. The stomach produces less acid, pancreatic enzymes drop, and absorption in the intestines becomes less effective. That means older adults must maximize every bite of nutrient-dense food. Yet paradoxically, many lean harder on leafy greens or legumes, assuming they are protecting their health. Instead, the anti-nutrient load can choke off access to critical amino acids. Imagine a construction site where the bricks arrive daily, but every night someone sneaks in and locks them inside a cage. The workers show up the next morning ready to build, only to find the bricks out of reach. Over time, the structure crumbles from neglect. That's exactly what happens inside aging muscles deprived of free usable protein. I recall the story of Mrs. Angela, age 70, a grandmother who adored her daily vegetable smoothies. Every morning she blended raw spinach, kale, and a banana, believing it gave her energy and kept her slim. At first it did seem refreshing, but over the months she noticed a troubling trend. Climbing stairs became harder, her thighs lost tone, and she began waking up with calf cramps that left her limping to the bathroom at night. When she came to see me, she was exasperated. "Doctor," she said, "I thought I was doing everything right. How can eating spinach be wrong?" Her blood work showed low bioavailable calcium and signs of muscle protein breakdown. After a detailed review of her diet, we identified the culprit. The oxalates in her daily raw greens were binding away essential nutrients. With some adjustments, lightly steaming her greens to reduce oxalate content, rotating in low oxalate vegetables like zucchini and cucumbers, and adding a protein source to every smoothie, she saw remarkable changes. Within 10 weeks, her cramps diminished, her walking endurance improved, and she regained confidence in moving around her two-story home. Her story illustrates an essential truth. Even healthy vegetables can become silent saboteurs when consumed the wrong way, in the wrong form, and in excessive amounts. The lesson is sobering. After 60, you cannot afford to lose ground in muscle health. Sarcopenia is already pushing against you. If you're feeding your body foods that further block protein and mineral absorption, you're practically handing the disease more ammunition. And the insidious part is that the symptoms creep up slowly. A little weakness here, a bit of fatigue there, until one day independence feels out of reach. So the next time you load your plate with a pile of raw greens, ask yourself, are you nourishing your muscles or are you feeding them chains they can't break? And if you think oxalates are the only villain, prepare yourself. Because next we'll uncover how one vegetable doesn't just steal nutrients, it actually disrupts calcium balance, leading to cramps, brittle bones, and even hidden risks to your heart. Let me introduce you to Mrs. Helen, age 72, a retired teacher who spent more than 3 decades inspiring young minds. She was disciplined, thoughtful, and always tried to do the right thing for her health. After retirement, she committed to what she believed was a clean diet. Every evening, her dinner plate was full of vegetables, spinach, beet, greens, beans, and occasionally a small portion of fish. She was proud of her routine, often telling her friends, "I hardly eat meat anymore. My plate is 80% vegetables." But over time, Helen began to notice changes. She no longer had the energy to walk to the local library, something she had enjoyed for years. She struggled to rise from her armchair without pushing against the armrests. At first, she attributed these changes to just getting older. But then came the night that changed everything. While climbing the 2 steps into her home, her legs suddenly gave way. She fell forward, bruising her knees and scraping her palms. It frightened her deeply because for the first time she wondered if she could no longer trust her own body. When she came to my clinic, I listened carefully as she described her meals and her symptoms. She emphasized that she didn't eat much processed food, avoided sugar, and relied on plant-based dinners. On paper, it sounded commendable. But when we examined her blood work, the truth emerged. Her calcium levels were unstable, markers of muscle protein breakdown were elevated, and there were signs of reduced iron absorption. In short, her muscles were not receiving the nutrients they needed to stay strong. The culprit. The very vegetables she believed were protecting her. High in oxalates and lectins, her nightly meals were blocking protein uptake, binding calcium and irritating her digestive tract. What Helen saw as a badge of health was in reality a slow erosion of her independence. I explained it this way. Helen, your body is like a classroom. The students are your muscles eager to learn and grow. The textbooks are your nutrients, protein, calcium, iron. But every time you eat these vegetables in excess, it's like locking the textbooks away. Your students show up, but they can't learn. They fall behind. She sat quietly for a moment, her hands folded, then sighed. So all this time I thought I was helping myself. I was actually starving my muscles. That realization hit her hard, but it was also empowering because it meant she could change the trajectory. We adjusted her meals steaming instead of blending raw greens, adding eggs and salmon twice a week, incorporating low oxalate vegetables, and balancing her plate with healthy fats. Within 3 months, Helen's story transformed. Her strength returned to the point where she could again walk to the library. She no longer needed to push herself up from her chair, and her confidence soared. Even her friends noticed, asking, "What's your secret?" Helen's journey is a warning to every senior: the wrong vegetable in the wrong form can quietly sabotage your health. It's not about eliminating all greens or legumes, it's about understanding which ones to limit, how to prepare them, and how to balance them. Without this knowledge, even the most disciplined diet can betray you. So, if Helen's story shook you, brace yourself. Because the next hidden danger we'll uncover isn't just about nutrient theft. It's about how one vegetable can hijack your calcium balance, leaving your muscles cramping, your bones fragile, and your heart under stress. Calcium is one of the body's most essential minerals. Most people think of it only in terms of bone health, but calcium is equally vital for your muscles. Every contraction, whether it's lifting your arms, stepping forward, or even your heart beating, depends on calcium ions moving in and out of muscle fibers. Without steady calcium balance, muscles cramp, spasm, and weaken. For seniors who already face declining absorption rates, the consequences can be dramatic. Now, here's the shocking twist. Some vegetables, often considered superfoods, can disrupt calcium balance in subtle but dangerous ways. Foods high in oxalates like spinach, beet greens, and Swiss chard bind to calcium and form insoluble salts that the body cannot absorb. Instead of strengthening your bones or fueling your muscles, the calcium is escorted out of your body as waste. It's as if you poured water into a bucket riddled with holes. No matter how much you add, it never fills up. To make matters worse, this process isn't just about wasting calcium. Over time, the buildup of oxalate calcium crystals can stress the kidneys, sometimes leading to stones. But for muscles, the immediate problem is far more pressing. When your calcium levels are unstable, your muscles lose their rhythm. Instead of smooth, reliable contractions, you get sudden cramps, tremors, or weakness. And because calcium also stabilizes the nervous system, low bioavailable calcium can leave you feeling jittery, fatigued, and unable to recover after activity. I once treated Mr. Samuel, age 69, who came to me complaining of nightly leg cramps that left him pacing the floor. "I wake up with my calves in knots," he told me. "It feels like my muscles are tearing themselves apart." He had tried magnesium supplements, stretching, and even massage. Nothing worked. When I asked him to describe his diet, he proudly shared that he ate a green bowl every evening filled with raw spinach and kale, lightly dressed with olive oil. He believed it was the secret to his vitality, but in reality, his meals were setting him up for mineral imbalance. His blood work showed borderline low calcium and elevated oxalate markers. Once he adjusted his diet, reducing high oxalate greens, rotating in low oxalate vegetables like lettuce and bok choy, and adding calcium-rich foods like sardines and yogurt, the difference was remarkable. Within 6 weeks, his nighttime cramps disappeared. His gait steadied, and he reported feeling stronger when climbing stairs. "Doctor," he told me with a smile, "for the first time in years, I can sleep through the night without being jolted awake by my legs." This story illustrates how misleading the word healthy can be when applied blindly. Spinach, kale, or beet greens may be nutrient-rich, but for seniors, they can act like double agents, giving with one hand while taking away with the other. If you're over 60, your calcium absorption is already challenged. Add in high oxalate vegetables and you're fighting a battle with dwindling ammunition. And when calcium balance is off, you don't just risk weak muscles. You risk brittle bones, fragile joints, and even irregular heartbeats. This is why I urge my patients to rethink the way they consume vegetables. Cooking certain greens reduces oxalate content. Pairing them with dairy or protein improves absorption, and rotating them with safer options ensures variety without overload. The key is balance, not blind devotion to any one superfood. So, if you thought oxalates binding to calcium was alarming, wait until you hear what comes next. Because the next patient's story I'll share reveals how a man who shifted to a plant-heavy dinner plan saw his muscle mass plummet at an astonishing rate, and how he learned the hard way that not all vegetables support longevity. I want to share the story of Mr. Raymond, age 68, a retired carpenter who had built houses his entire life. His arms once carried planks of wood with ease, his legs climbed ladders without hesitation, and his hands could hammer nails from dawn to dusk. After retirement, Raymond decided to focus on his health. Inspired by articles praising plant-based diets, he shifted his dinners to be almost entirely vegetables. "I figured if I avoided meat and just loaded up on greens, beans, and lentils, I'd stay young forever," he told me with pride during his first visit. But within a year, he noticed troubling changes. His once strong hands trembled when holding a screwdriver. His thighs, once firm, softened. He even struggled to carry his granddaughter up the porch steps, something that had always brought him joy. At first he brushed it off as normal aging, but when his wife remarked, "Ray, your pants are hanging loose around your legs," he realized something wasn't right. When Raymond came to me, we ran a body composition test. To his shock, he had lost nearly 15% of his muscle mass in less than a year, despite not losing much overall weight. His protein intake seemed adequate on paper. Beans, lentils, and vegetables filled his plate, but his blood markers revealed poor amino acid availability. The culprit: the very vegetables he had embraced. High in lectins and oxalates, his plant-heavy meals interfered with nutrient absorption, preventing his muscles from rebuilding after even mild activity. From a medical standpoint, this is a classic example of what happens when seniors rely too heavily on high oxalate or lectin-rich vegetables. As the digestive system ages, enzyme activity decreases, stomach acid production wanes, and the intestinal lining becomes more sensitive. This makes it harder to break down plant compounds that younger adults can tolerate. Instead of fueling recovery, Raymond's meals became a barrier to muscle repair. I explained it to him this way: "Raymond, imagine your muscles are a workshop. Every day you're doing repairs from the wear and tear of living. Protein is your lumber, calcium is your nails, and minerals like magnesium are your tools. But the vegetables you've been eating are like a thief sneaking into the workshop at night, locking away your supplies. You show up ready to work, but there's nothing you can use." He leaned back in his chair and shook his head. "So you're saying the very thing I thought was saving me was tearing me down?" We created a new plan. Instead of cutting vegetables altogether, we adjusted his approach, steaming high oxalate greens, replacing beans at dinner with fish or eggs, and adding safer vegetables like zucchini, bell peppers, and mushrooms. We also introduced fermented foods like yogurt to improve gut absorption. Within 4 months, Raymond had regained noticeable strength. His grip improved, his walking pace quickened, and most importantly, he could once again lift his granddaughter without strain. "It feels like I've been given a second chance," he said, his eyes welling with relief. Raymond's story highlights a critical truth: muscle loss after 60 is not only inevitable aging, it can be accelerated by hidden factors in your diet. Many seniors assume that eating more vegetables always equals better health, but without understanding the impact of anti-nutrients, they may be unknowingly sabotaging their strength and independence. So if hearing about Raymond surprised you, prepare for what comes next. Because beyond nutrient absorption and protein theft, some vegetables can even interfere with circulation itself, stiffening blood vessels, restricting oxygen, and leaving muscles gasping for the very fuel they need to repair. And that's where the real danger begins. When we think about muscle health, we often focus only on protein and exercise. But there's another equally vital factor: circulation. Your muscles are living tissue that demand oxygen and nutrients delivered by blood. Every contraction, every repair, every adaptation depends on the efficiency of your blood vessels. Without healthy circulation, even the best diet or workout plan will fail to restore strength. Mainstream medicine acknowledges that as we age, our arteries naturally stiffen. This process, called vascular aging, reduces the flexibility of blood vessels, slows oxygen delivery, and increases the risk of hypertension. By age 60, this stiffening is nearly universal, which is why seniors tire more quickly, heal more slowly, and are at higher risk for strokes and heart attacks. What many people don't realize, however, is that certain vegetables can accelerate this vascular decline by releasing compounds that irritate and inflame the lining of blood vessels. Take, for example, nitrate-heavy greens like spinach and beetroot. In moderation, nitrates can be beneficial, converting into nitric oxide that widens blood vessels. But in excess, and especially in seniors with weakened kidneys or impaired detoxification, these same compounds can cause oxidative stress. Instead of relaxing vessels, they trigger instability in blood pressure and encourage calcium deposits to harden the arteries. When this happens, blood flow to the muscles is restricted, starving them of oxygen and slowing repair. The result: fatigue, weakness, and faster muscle loss. I remember a patient named Mrs. Doris, age 75, who came to me worried about her constant shortness of breath and heaviness in her legs. "Doctor, even climbing 3 steps feels like I've run a marathon," she confessed. She was proud of her diet. Every day she juiced raw beetroot and spinach, convinced it was keeping her young. But her symptoms told a different story. After reviewing her labs, we found elevated markers of oxidative stress and signs of arterial stiffness. Her hemoglobin levels were fine, so it wasn't anemia. The problem was circulation itself. When we reduced her raw nitrate-heavy juices, switched her to cooked and balanced portions, and encouraged her to add circulation-friendly foods like garlic and blueberries, her condition improved. Within 2 months, she reported more stable energy, and the crushing heaviness in her legs eased. "I had no idea too much of a good thing could hurt me," she admitted, shaking her head. This is the hidden danger. Seniors are often told to eat more vegetables without nuance, yet the form, the preparation, and the frequency matter. In someone younger, raw beet juice may enhance exercise. In a 75-year-old with vulnerable arteries, it may backfire, stiffening vessels and depriving muscles of the blood they desperately need. Think of it this way: circulation is the highway that connects your kitchen to your muscles. Protein, calcium, magnesium, all your nutrients are the cars on the road. But if the road is blocked with traffic jams and potholes, the cars never arrive. Your muscles wait for resources that never come, and day by day they weaken. This is why some seniors experience muscle fatigue no matter how much protein they eat or how many exercises they perform. The real issue is not intake, it's delivery. And some vegetables, ironically, can be the very culprits clogging the highway. So if nutrient theft and calcium imbalance weren't worrying enough, imagine what happens when your blood supply itself is compromised. Weak muscles don't just come from the inside, they can also be starved from the outside. And if this alarms you, wait until you hear the story of a woman who believed her vegetable-rich diet would carry her into her 80s with ease, only to find herself nearly unable to climb her own staircase. Her story will open your eyes to just how deceptive healthy eating can be. Let me take you deeper into the story of Mrs. Doris, age 75, a widow who had always prided herself on being independent. She lived alone in her 2-story home, climbed her stairs daily, and did her own shopping at the local market. Determined to age well, she embraced what she thought was the healthiest diet: fresh vegetable juices. Every morning and evening she blended spinach, beetroot, kale, and carrots, believing she was fueling her body with life-giving nutrients. At first it felt energizing, but within a year her independence began to erode. She noticed she couldn't climb the stairs without pausing halfway to catch her breath. Her thighs burned after just a few steps and her calves cramped at night. She told me, "Doctor, I thought vegetables were supposed to keep me strong, but my legs feel weaker than ever." The fear in her voice was unmistakable, fear of losing the freedom she cherished most. From a medical perspective, Doris was experiencing the double burden of aging circulation and nutrient interference. On one hand, her blood vessels were stiffening with age, limiting the oxygen supply to her muscles. On the other, her heavy reliance on oxalate and nitrate-rich vegetables was compounding the problem, stealing away calcium and creating oxidative stress in her arteries. Instead of supporting her muscles, her diet was silently undermining them. Her lab results confirmed the issue: borderline low calcium, signs of protein malabsorption, and markers of vascular stress. None of this was due to bad habits like smoking or processed foods. It was the cumulative effect of overloading on the wrong kinds of vegetables in the wrong form. Doris felt betrayed. "How could something that looks so fresh and natural be harming me?" she asked, shaking her head. The solution wasn't to strip vegetables out of her life altogether, but to rebalance. We taught her to steam her greens instead of blending them raw, to rotate her vegetables and avoid daily beet spinach smoothies, and to pair her meals with protein and healthy fats. We also introduced safer, senior-friendly options: zucchini, cucumbers, cauliflower, and bell peppers, all of which nourish without overloading the body with anti-nutrients. The transformation was gradual but undeniable. After 8 weeks, Doris reported that her cramps had nearly vanished. She could climb her stairs without stopping, and her energy in the afternoons returned. Most importantly, she regained confidence. "Doctor," she said with a relieved smile, "I thought I was on my way to a wheelchair. Now I feel like I've been given more time to live on my own terms." Her story highlights the painful irony many seniors desperate to maintain their independence unknowingly follow diets that erode it. By trusting in superfoods without understanding how aging bodies process them, they trade short-term reassurance for long-term weakness. Doris's case is a reminder that after 60 health isn't about piling on more of what sounds healthy, it's about choosing wisely, balancing carefully, and preparing foods in ways that your body can truly use. Think about this. If one woman's staircase became a mountain she could barely climb, how many others are struggling, silently convinced that frailty is inevitable, when in fact it's partially preventable with the right knowledge? And this leads us to a bigger picture, the domino effect. When muscles weaken, independence falters. Falls become more likely, fractures more severe, and reliance on others unavoidable. In the next section, I'll show you how this chain reaction unfolds and why the wrong vegetable at the wrong time can tip the first domino in a cascade that steals away freedom. When muscles weaken, it's never an isolated problem. In seniors, muscle loss sets off what I call the domino effect of decline, a chain reaction that doesn't stop with frailty, but ripples through nearly every aspect of daily life. One small slip, one moment of instability can lead to a fall, a fracture, or even months in bed. And the wrong vegetables consumed daily without awareness can accelerate this dangerous cascade. From a medical perspective, the science is sobering. Muscle weakness or sarcopenia dramatically raises the risk of falls, which are the leading cause of injury and hospitalization among adults over 65. Each year, 1 in 3 seniors suffers a fall, and the consequences are rarely minor. A hip fracture, for instance, can reduce life expectancy by nearly 20% within a year. Even without fractures, the fear of falling often keeps seniors from walking outdoors or engaging in activity, which in turn shrinks muscles even further. It's a vicious cycle. Weakness breeds fear, fear breeds inactivity, and inactivity breeds more weakness. Now, layer onto this cycle the impact of certain vegetables that block nutrient absorption and strain circulation. If your muscles are already losing strength from age and your food is denying them the protein, calcium, and oxygen they need, the dominoes start to topple even faster. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual erosion. First, a wobble on the stairs, then difficulty rising from a chair, then the terrifying experience of losing balance in the bathroom. Independence is chipped away piece by piece, meal by meal. One of my patients, Mrs. Evelyn, age 74, exemplifies this pattern. She came to me after suffering a fall in her kitchen. Luckily, she only bruised her hip, but she admitted it shook her confidence badly. "Doctor, I used to garden every morning," she told me, "but now I'm afraid to step outside alone." Her diet sounded wholesome, large helpings of spinach salads, lentil stews, and beetroot juices. But behind the health halo was a steady intake of oxalates and nitrates that left her calcium balance unstable and her circulation compromised. Over time, her muscles weakened to the point where she could no longer trust her own body. We restructured her meals, introducing safe lower oxalate vegetables and pairing her dinners with fish and eggs instead of legumes. Within 3 months, Evelyn felt stronger on her feet, but what struck me most was not just her physical recovery, it was her emotional one. "Doctor," she said one afternoon, "I feel like I've gotten my freedom back. I can walk in my garden again without fear." This is the heart of the domino effect. When muscles fail, independence fails. And when independence fails, so does quality of life. Seniors lose not only their mobility, but also their confidence, their hobbies, and their sense of dignity. Something as simple as choosing the wrong vegetable each night can tip the balance toward frailty without you even realizing it. The lesson here is not to fear vegetables altogether, but to approach them with awareness. After 60, food isn't just fuel, it's medicine or it's poison. If you eat the wrong foods in the wrong way, you're pushing over the first domino. And once it falls, the chain reaction can be difficult to stop. But there's good news. Just as weakness cascades downward, strength can cascade upward. Choosing safe vegetables, preparing them correctly, and pairing them with the right nutrients can rebuild muscle, restore independence, and reignite confidence. And that's exactly what we'll cover in the final section. Because if all of this has sounded bleak so far, you need to hear the hopeful path forward. The vegetables that truly support your muscles, the simple rules to protect yourself, and how to reclaim not just your health, but your independence. We've traveled through a difficult but necessary journey together. You've seen how certain vegetables, while praised as superfoods, can quietly chip away at your strength after 60. From blocking protein absorption to disrupting calcium balance and even restricting circulation, the wrong choices can accelerate muscle loss, leaving you weaker, more fragile, and more dependent on others. But here's the truth. I want you to hold on to your future is not sealed by age alone. Knowledge gives you power. Just as the wrong vegetables can accelerate decline, the right foods in the right amounts and the right forms can rebuild, protect, and sustain your muscles for years to come. Let's start with safe alternatives. If you want to protect your strength after 60, here are 6 vegetables and foods I recommend most often to my patients. Zucchini. Gentle on the gut, low in oxalates, and easy to digest. Zucchini provides hydration and minerals without interfering with calcium or protein absorption. Bell peppers, rich in vitamin C, which plays a direct role in collagen synthesis. Bell peppers support not only muscle repair but also joint health. Cauliflower, a cruciferous vegetable that delivers antioxidants without the oxalate overload, making it safe for daily use. Cucumbers. Light, refreshing, and hydrating cucumbers add volume to meals without stressing digestion or circulation. Avocados. Though technically a fruit, avocados are rich in potassium and healthy fats that stabilize calcium balance and aid muscle contraction. Berries, blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries provide antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress, protecting both circulation and muscle tissue. Each of these foods not only nourishes but also works in harmony with the aging body. They don't steal resources, they provide them. They don't block absorption, they enhance it. They don't stiffen blood vessels, they help keep them supple. Beyond specific foods, I also want to give you clear, actionable rules for safe eating after 60. Cook wisely. Steaming or lightly boiling greens can cut oxalate content significantly, making them safer for seniors. Avoid relying on raw spinach or beet juice as a daily staple. Pair smartly. Always combine vegetables with protein and healthy fats. This slows digestion, improves absorption, and provides the raw materials your muscles need. Eat earlier. Avoid large servings of heavy vegetables late at night. Your digestive system slows in the evening and nutrient absorption is less efficient. Morning or midday is the best time for your nutrient-dense meals. Rotate regularly. Don't eat the same vegetables every single day. Rotation prevents buildup of anti-nutrients and ensures a broader nutrient profile. Listen to your body. If you notice unexplained cramps, weakness, or fatigue, review your diet. Sometimes the foods you trust most are silently working against you. As we close, I want to leave you with reassurance. Growing older does not mean surrendering your strength. It does not mean handing over your independence to frailty. With knowledge, you can take control. You can choose foods that truly serve you. Prepare them in ways that unlock their benefits and protect your muscles for the years ahead. To every senior listening today, your body is resilient. Even if you've struggled with weakness, cramps, or fatigue, change is possible. I've watched patients in their 70s regain strength, confidence, and independence simply by making these adjustments, and you can too. So let's not end on fear, let's end on hope. Because the foods you choose tomorrow can build the foundation for a stronger, safer, and more independent you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another health tip made just for you. Together, we can spread knowledge that protects lives. Stay strong, stay wise, and remember the choices you make today will shape the independence you enjoy tomorrow.